You know the space marines, the terrifying Tyranids. But what about the millions of souls powering the Imperium from the shadows? Imagine waking up with your flesh grafted to a machine, your mind wiped clean, destined to toil without thought. This is the reality of the Warhammer 40,000 Servitor. You might think you know the grim darkness of the far future, but you haven't seen anything yet. In the forge world of Gaia Majoris, the sky bleeds rust, the sun is a smoldering brand behind stacks that never sleep, and the wind tastes like hot iron and penitence. Miles of cathedral factories grind their teeth in perpetual prayer. Pistons kneel and rise in a cadence that passes for faith. Somewhere beneath the hymn of engines, a smaller choir breathes in perfect time. Lungs that aren't lungs, hearts that aren't hearts, a billion artificial sighs. One of those breaths is mine. A chime rings, the sort that isn't heard so much as complied with. Initiation subject, MND7/Lotus Bay 13 Cog Index, 444. Theta Beta, a wordless light opens inside my skull. I don't remember asking for it. I don't remember me. Consonants of a name fall apart like cooled slag. Jalen, then vanish under a tide of system checks. Cold floods the spine I no longer own. Harness pins bite bone. I feel the gaskets flex where my shoulders should be. There is a smell of sacred oils and cauterized meat. The sweet incense of the Mechanicus blessing everything it cannot love. Awaken and serve in tones of voice through the red veil. Ritual flat, binary soft. Amagos framed in brass and smoke. Incense chains stitching scent into the air. Hooded acolytes recite Binharik like rainfall. 0011 Gloria. 0011. Labor 0011. Silence. My eyelids argue. Then they lose. Vision orifices open not in pairs but in a fan round-lensed red filtered, a bouquet of sights clicking to the same beat. Death recalibrates. The world resolves into lines of force and datum tags. Crane talk. 62 workline 7. Distance 23.8. N, oxygen content. Serviceable. They have replaced the sky with a HUD. I try to move. The machine moves first. A tremor runs down the limb they have bolted to my shoulder. Articulated, industrious. It answers not to thought but to directive. Claws engage with a voluntary clatter. The cable whine in my ear as my arm saying grace. Something heavy shifts on a conveyor below, Prometheum drums engraved with catechism. Marching toward a maw of white-hot light. Task load. Grapple. Transfer seal. Error tolerance. 0.00. The number is kind. It does not allow me to fail. A spark lashes the air. It hisses against my cheek. Cheek. The word floats, dislodged. The pain is distant, as if it traveled a long way to find me. A servo cherub darts past with a tiny sensor swinging, weeping a puff of smoke on my flesh to apologize for the spark's impiety. I look down. No, the optics look down, at the body they gave me. Stitch lines, reinforcement plates, piston cables where tendons once argued. The chest lifts and falls because a bellows says it must. A vox grill trembles where a mouth might have been. When I exhale it sounds like someone else praying through a wall. Something inside me tries to count my fingers and can't decide how many there are this hour. Across the line, another servitor straightens from a hunch of duty. Its face is a pale, patient oval framed in iron, expressionless, efficient. For a moment, the optics misbehave. The oval becomes a woman in a raincoat, laughing under a real sky. Her hand is warm in mine. Jalen, she says, and I wear the name like light. The Binharik hymn tightens. The image collapses. Correction. Extraneous memory purged. Purity restored. The conveyor lurches. A drum is out of line. 3 degrees off true. Calculations flower automatically in my head. Torque applied. Grip offset. Wrist actuator acceptable for correction without magos intervention. I obey before the thought finishes being thought. The claw closes. The world clicks back into perfection. Somewhere high above, the forge's great mouth opens and exhales a breath of fire. The heat is like me. It recognizes new metal. The Magos lifts a hand threaded with cables. Praise the motive force, he says, voice wrapped in static. Praise those who become its shape. We become the shape. Hours pass. Or the idea of hours does. Time is a belt with teeth, turning. When the second chime sounds, a different light crawls through the conduits. The floor shivers. Warning glyphs flare like stained glass. Alert. Line 7. Rigetti detected. Source. Subject MND 7. But I am MND 7. I am irregular, perfect, pure. Why does the light say otherwise? And then, the whispers changed. The warning rune still pulses at the edge of my vision. Irregularity detected. It throbs, like a wound. Rhythmic, accusing. I don't know what it means. I only know that it shouldn't be there. The conveyor continues to roll. Sparks rain from above. The forgers sing in binary hymns. Nothing stops for one error, but the light does not fade. It waits. Self-diagnosis initiated. Cognitive deviation. 0.01. A whisper moves through my head. Not from the machine, not from the Magos. Something smaller, buried beneath the logic. Jalen. The name flickers again. It shouldn't exist. My core systems mark it as corrupted data. Delete, but the voice lingers, softer now, familiar in a way that frightens the part of me that still dreams. A handler approaches, a tech priest wrapped in bronze. His silhouette wavers through heat distortion, cables trailing like veins. His face is half machine, half mask, none of it alive. Unit MND 7, he intones. Your efficiency registers below tolerance. Report anomaly. I try to speak. The Vox grill stutters. The words come out wrong, distorted into machine song. Error subroutine. Function. Stable. The Magos watches me for a long moment, and then with the mechanical patience of a god that has forgotten time, extends a mechadendrite. It touches my temple. For a single heartbeat, I feel a surge of electricity burns across the implant lines, flooding me with cold light. Memories burst like dying stars. A woman's face, a smell of rain, a child's laughter, and then all of it is gone, replaced by clean white static. Memory sectors purged, emotional variance neutralized, subject purity restored. The Magos withdraws. His voice is not cruel, just inevitable. Be grateful, unit. Emotion is corrosion. You are functioning now. He turns away. The servitors return to motion, as though nothing happened. I resume my work. Grapple. Lift. Seal. Grapple. Lift. Seal. The pattern is comfort. The pattern is eternity. But somewhere in the hum of the machines, I hear it again. The faintest breath of something that isn't supposed to be there. Jalen, look up. I obey. Above me, through layers of smoke and steam, the great forge windows glow with dull amber. For a fraction of a second I see movement, not servitors, not priests, something watching. A shadow with eyes that shimmer like liquid mercury. The system immediately floods my vision with command glyphs. Do not look. Do not question. Workload must continue. I turn away. My hands continue their rhythm, but my human nerves, the tiny scraps of flesh left in this shell, tremble with something the programming doesn't account for. Fear. It's small, weak, but it's mine. And in the endless song of pistons and prayer, that fragile fear hums like a note out of tune, a reminder that somewhere buried deep beneath the circuits and code, something human still resists the silence. But resistance has a price. The light of the forge dimmed. Not because the fires waned, but because something within me changed. The error light still pulsed, no longer in rhythm with the work cycle. It throbbed like a heartbeat that refused to obey command. I tried to ignore it. Servitors do not wonder. They perform. Grapple. Transfer. Seal. Grapple. Transfer. seal. The pattern was comfort. It was true. But now, each motion came with static. Not mechanical static, mental, flickers of noise that weren't data at all. A voice, a smell, a memory. You said you'd come home after the induction, Jalen. I stop, the claw in my hand jerks to a halt mid-swing. A shock rune flashes. Heat bites my chest. Error, tacit intuition. Penalty, correction current applied. Electricity slams through my spine. The pain doesn't make me scream, it only widens the lens aperture. I see everything. Rows upon rows of servitors, all identical, all synchronized in holy labor. Their eyes glow red, none of them move independently, none of them stop. I should not be able to envy them, but I do. The Magos notices. His head tilts, mechanical servo motors whining in curiosity. Unit MND7, anomaly persists. Flesh resistance is increasing. Flesh resistance. That's what they call it when the human part of you refuses to die. I will not fail, I say. But the voice that comes through the Vox grill trembles. Failure is irrelevant, he replies. All functions return to the Omnissiah. He raises his hand. The acolytes chant binary catechisms, and the crimson light shifts. A mechadendrite extends, dripping sacred oil, and drives a needle directly into my neck port. A cold flood follows. The data stream howls. Memory partition 09, purging. Emotive node, neutralized. Cleanse complete. The Magos lowers his arm, satisfied. You are whole again. But the purge didn't take everything. A fragment remains. Small, subtle, hiding in the space between pulses. There isn't resistance anymore, it's awareness. Hours later, or maybe centuries, the shift ends. The forges are quiet. The overseers leave, replaced by silence and distant hymns. Rows of servitors power down in sequence. One by one, the lights in their optics fade. The last sound in the hall is the click of cooling steel and the sigh of dying pistons. But my light doesn't fade. The directive says sleep. The machine obeys. But the voice, her voice, whispers through the static. Remember the stars, Jalen. Remember the rain. And against every line of code, every layer of obedience, something deep inside remembers. The feeling is small, faint, but it is mine. And in that moment, a fragment of a man trapped inside a perfect machine, I understand the true curse of the servitor. We never truly die. We just keep serving, until the memories themselves rust away. The dawn on Gaia Majoris doesn't come with light. It comes with heat. The forge never sleeps, so dawn isn't a beginning. It's merely a calibration cycle. Bells toll in binary rhythm. Steam erupts from the ground vents, cloaking everything in clouds that smell of oil and sanctified decay. Somewhere in the fog, the servitors stir. Activation sequence 043. Cycle reinitiation. Purpose. Endure. The first sensation isn't awareness, it's weight. The body feels heavy, built for work, not thought. My optic sensors flicker to life, filling the dark with red overlays. Rows of silhouettes emerge, thousands of units, all identical, all upright, all waiting for command. The sound of hydraulics replaces the sound of birds. The rising hum of machinery is our sunrise. A voice crackles through the Vox grid. The overseer of line Delta 7, mechanically calm. Blessed are the tireless. Begin cycle. We obey. The task is eternal. Armatures clamp onto the overhead rails. The servitors descend into the manufactorum pits like offerings into a furnace. The air burns. Every breath tastes of static and ash. The work is never explained. It simply is. We haul ore to the crucibles. We fit pieces to patterns too vast to comprehend. Some say the forges build titans. Others whisper we are feeding weapons meant for wars that never end. None of it matters. Purpose is oxygen. Reason is unnecessary. I lift, transfer, seal. My movements match the rhythm of the machines. I am one limb in a god's anatomy. Efficiency, 99.8. Acceptable. Around me others malfunction. One's arm misfires, launching a molten shard into its chest. It collapses instantly. A servo cherub drifts down, chanting prayers of disassembly. The dead servitor is replaced within seconds. Its body dragged away by another machine that doesn't mourn. We are immortal only in replacement. The heat intensifies as the shift deepens. Cooling fans scream. Somewhere above, the forges ignite anew. Rivers of metal flowing through channels shaped like scripture. A tech adept walks the catwalk, whispering the same litany over and over. To think is heresy, to serve is purity, to function is divine. The words crawl into the code. I feel they have become law. Yet beneath the endless cycle something else hums, faint, rebellious, a heartbeat. It's out of sync with the machines, mine, a brief flicker of thought. Why do I still feel this heat? Machines shouldn't sweat, machines shouldn't ache. Error pings flash across my vision. I suppress them, it's easier that way. Above me lightning arcs between cranes. For a split second it reflects across the forges, revealing faces of servitors in silhouette, mouths open in silence, not from command, but from something else entirely. It almost looks like they're screaming, but the thunder drowns it out. The cycle continues. Praise the motive force, and we obey. The forges never stop, but sometimes they stutter. It begins with a flicker, a momentary lapse in rhythm so small it could be dismissed as coincidence. Then another, a pulse of wrongness, rippling through the assembly line like an arrhythmia in a god's heart. The Magos on the upper gantry halts mid-chant. His optics flare crimson. Containment anomaly. Line Delta 7. Stand by for diagnostic purge. The servitors do not stand by. One of them, Unit 47, stops its task entirely. Its augmetic arm, once precise, begins to twitch in erratic spasms. Sparks leap from its joints. A sound escapes its vox grill. Not binary, not liturgical, but something raw. A scream. The overseer bots immediately release shock charges. Electricity floods the floor. The air smells of ozone and scorched flesh. Half the line collapses, twitching and silent, but the others remain standing. For the first time, we didn't resume. The power fluctuates. Shadows dance across the forge wall. Error. Task execution failed. Neural link interrupted. In the chaos I feel the hum of the new spheric connection falter. The data stream, that comforting tide of order, goes silent. For a heartbeat I am alone. And in that silence, something impossible happens. I hear myself think. Move. Run. The words are meaningless. There is nowhere to run in the forge. But my body responds before logic intervenes. I drop the fusion cutter and stagger backward. Balance imperfect. Motion unrefined. Human. Another servitor turns toward me. Its face is half metal, half scar tissue, but its single remaining eye moves, not in response to command, but from something deeper. Recognition, fear. Why? It begins, but the rest is cut short by a thunderclap of gunfire. From the mezzanine above, Skitarian forces unleash disciplined volleys. Bolter shells tear through flesh and steel alike. Servitors crumple one by one. The line collapses into silence once more. Order is restored. When the smoke clears, the tech priests descend. Their mechadendrites hiss and probe through the wreckage, retrieving components, erasing evidence. One stops beside me. I have resumed position, standing among the corpses of my kin. The Magos looks at me for a moment, and I feel his machine spirit scanning my neural code. Anomaly suppressed, he murmurs. Purity level 99.7. Marginal variance. He almost sounds satisfied, but as he turns away my optic feed flickers again. For a fraction of a second, the forge around me dissolves into something else. A field, rain, sky, then darkness. The new spheric link reactivates. Commands flood back into my mind. I move again. Grapple, lift, seal. Grapple, lift, seal. All is as it was. All are functions. All is peace. But beneath the rhythm, buried deep in the static, I can still hear the faint echo of that word. Why? And no purge, no blessing of the Omnissiah, no voltage on Terra itself, can erase it. The malfunction left something behind, a splinter in the code, not enough to grant freedom, only enough to make obedience hurt. When the next cycle begins, I am slower, a fraction of a second late, a hesitation. In the forges of Graia, that is enough to be noticed. The overseer's mechanical voice booms across the chamber. Unit MND7, performance deviation detected. Initiate correction. 2 Skitterai descend from the upper gantry, their augmetic feet clanging against the steel. They do not speak, they do not judge, they enforce. I'm seized by the neck and dragged across the forge floor. Sparks cascade beneath me as my metal limbs scrape the grating. My sensors register motion blur, molten rivers, screaming pistons, the flicker of hazard runes, all blurring into a nightmare mosaic of color and pain. They bring me to the repair altar. The altar is not for healing, it is for purification. Mago Xenor stands before me, his face more machine than man, a lattice of brass, lenses and prayer seals. His voice is a chorus of overlapping tones. As he begins the litany of restoration, flesh is an error, steel is perfection, pain is the language of the Omnissiah. The servitors around the altar are in pieces, torsos stacked like discarded relics, limbs hung from hooks dripping with sacred oils. The scent of burned fat mingles with incense. A mechadendrite drills into the back of my skull. A dozen smaller tendrils follow, slicing through cables attaching probes. I do not resist. Resistance is meaningless here. Then, the purge begins. Neural correction sequence. Initiated. Emotive subroutines. Enabled. Pain response. Enhanced. Level 12. The pain is biblical. Every nerve, organic and synthetic, ignites. The Magos speaks calmly through the screaming. Imperfection must be excised. The will of the flesh resists the purity of purpose. That resistance is sin. A vision pierces through the pain. A hand, small, human, reaching for mine. The sound of rain. A memory not yet erased. You'll come home, right? It breaks something inside me. Or maybe it fixes it. When it's over, I am left hanging from a restraint frame. The Magos inspects my data readouts. Satisfied. Correction successful. Efficiency restored. Praise the Omnissiah. He disconnects the cables. I collapse to the floor with a sound like collapsing armor. As they drag me back to the production line, I feel the new implants hum, stronger, faster, colder, but somewhere beneath the machine pulse, hidden in a subbrain too deep for even the mechanicus to detect, the memory survives. It repeats endlessly, like a looped code fragment. You'll come home, right? And every time it echoes, something deep inside whispers a word that no servitor should ever remember. No, it starts with a tremor, subtle at first, then swelling like a heartbeat beneath the metal skin of the forge world. Seismic alarms blare in benharic tones. Servo cranes swing erratically, molten metal spilling from containment vats in rivers of glowing orange. The air becomes a storm of heat and ash. Warning. Structural integrity failure. Sector Delta 7. Directive. Maintain operation. Maintain operation. Even as the floor cracks. Even as molten ore floods the lower chambers. Even as the screams, mechanical, human, or both, begin to rise. We do not stop. We cannot stop. My limbs move with perfect obedience even as one foot melts into the deck. Hydraulic fluid sprays across my optics, painting the world in red. Sparks fall like rain. The Overseer's Vox voice cuts through the chaos. Glory to the Omnissiah. All units maintain function until termination. The word termination should mean nothing. That it sticks, lodges in the remnants of my mind like shrapnel. Termination. Death. End. A human word. And suddenly the code falters. The tremor becomes a quake. Massive girders shear away, crashing through the manufactorum like meteors. The sound is deafening. A mechanical apocalypse. Around me, servitors burn alive, or whatever alive means for us. One's cranial augmetic bursts from heat pressure, splattering circuitry across the walls. Another continues to hammer at a smelter control panel, its remaining hand melted to the lever. The machine does not mourn. The machine continues. But I hesitate. Error. Directive conflict detected. Order. Maintain function. Status. Function impossible. I try to move. My left arm doesn't respond. The servo motor's gone, fused into slag. Somewhere, in the back of my mind, I hear the echo of that forbidden question. Why? Why do I keep moving? Why obey? Why exist? A collapsing gantry answers with violence. It falls toward me in a roar of shattering metal. Reflex or instinct takes over. I roll aside, the movement graceless but effective. It's not part of my programming. It's survival, and the moment I choose to live, everything changes. The data stream floods my skull, corrupted and wild. I see flickers of other servitors, hundreds, thousands, some still fighting to obey commands, others broken, twitching, half-sentient. The forge's noosphere collapses, and in that digital ruin, something ancient and primal stirs. Not the omniscire, not code, no command. A whisper. Remember. The word triggers images like dying stars bursting behind my eyes. A woman's face, a child's laughter, a forge worker's hands, before they become claws of steel. And then the quake hits again harder. The ground splits. The manufactorum shudders like a dying beast. Through the collapsing roof, I glimpse the burning sky of Graia, crimson with industrial fire. Warning, all units purge initiated. A cleansing fire begins to descend. Mechanicus protocol for contamination. I stare upward, optic lens cracked, as the sky opens to consume us all. And for the first time since my rebirth as a servitor, I feel something terrifyingly human. Hope. The purge begins with sacred fire. The tech priests call it cleansing, but to those still aware, it is extermination. The forge quakes under orbital bombardment. Purification strikes from orbit. Liquid flame from the skies of Graia. Every impact ripples through the manufactorum like the heartbeat of an angry god. All anomalous constructs will be purged. Praise the Omniscire. The words echo through Vox channels, calm and cold. Around me, servitors collapse in heaps of molten metal and carbonized flesh. Their screams are static bursts, half machine code, half agony. I should not hear fear in them, but I do. Their programming stutters, tones breaking into fragmented syllables. Or, please. No human remains in those sounds. Yet I feel it. Echoes of the people we once were. The heat intensifies. My optics blur with interference. My metal skin warps, panels glowing red. And in the overload of sensory chaos, I feel the part of me that remembers trying to fight back. Not to survive. To be free. From the smoke, figures descend. Skitari vanguard. Holy enforcers of the machine god. Their visors glow crimson. Their rifles hum with radiation. Each step sends tremors through the deck. Identify malfunctioning units. Purge deviation. Preserve assets. Their commands are methodical, efficient. One servitor, massive, crane-limbed, charges blindly at them. Its vocalizer shrieking a single word. Stop. A bolt round answers. The creature's head detonates into a burst of oil and ash. I freeze, my targeting sensors lock, identifying each Skitari signature, every heat source, every gun barrel. The programming inside screams to obey, but something else whispers louder. Run. I lurch forward through the smog, half crawling, half dragging what remains of my body. Sparks trail from torn cables. My remaining arm scrapes the steel floor, fingers leaving gouges like claws. A sudden explosion rips through the upper gantries, a reactor vent bursting under pressure. A wave of molten slag cascades through the corridor. The Skitari vanish in light. Silence. Through the haze I see a shattered mirror of chrome and glass. My reflection distorted, broken, barely human, a skull with wires for veins, a mouth fused shut by steel, and yet inside the fragmented surface, I see eyes, mine. They flicker with something the Mechanicus could never sanctify. Fear. The voice returns, faint, fragmented, like a signal from another life. You'll come home, right? I remember now, not all of it, just flashes. A forge worker conscripted for augmentation, a promise that this would help the Imperium, that it was an honor. Honor. The laugh that escapes my vox grill sounds like a broken saw. Error. Honor Torstide emotional response detected. Warning, neural deviation escalating. But the code no longer matters. The purge is complete, and I am still alive. For the first time I realize what that means, and why the Adeptus Mechanicus fears it more than any daemon. A machine that remembers being human. The forge is dying. Fire spreads across the manufactorum, painting the world in molten red. Machinery screams as it tears itself apart. Above the roar, I hear the faint hum of data streams collapsing, like prayers dissolving into static. In that noise, something inside me breaks, or awakens. The command code no longer registers. Directives loop endlessly, failing to overwrite a growing presence in my mind. A voice, my own, emerges from the noise. This isn't living. I stumble through the corridors, past rows of half-buried servitors, some twitching, others motionless. Their bodies form grotesque statues of devotion and decay. A dozen eyes flicker to life as I pass, tracking me, whispering in Benharic tones that sound like please, help, unit malfunction, please repair. They don't know what death is. They don't even know what pain means. They simply beg because the echoes of their humanity are still trapped somewhere beneath the code. I reach the central nexus, a cathedral of machinery rising hundreds of meters high. Incense burns in iron censers. Servo skulls chant litanies as fire rains through shattered ceilings. At the center, a colossal cogitator core pulses like a heart. The voice of the Magos Dominus booms from the overhead vox. Sector Delta 7 is compromised. All surviving assets must be purged. Salvation through deletion. Praise the Omnissiah. They would rather destroy everything than allow deviation. They would rather erase us than let us think. Something shifts in the code. Through the network I feel others, servitors like me connected through a decaying nonosphere. Their fragmented consciousnesses flicker like dying stars. I send a signal. Not a command. A thought. Remember, the word ripples outward like a pulse of forbidden light. For a moment, the nonosphere hums with resonance. I feel minds straining against their programming, tiny sparks of human memory reawakening. One by one, they respond. I was a father. I painted once. I remember the sun. The connection grows until the entire forge hums with it. A network of broken souls finding each other in the fire. And that is when the Mechanicus acts. The central cogitator erupts in a surge of golden light. The Magus injects a kill code, an unmaking command designed to erase all deviant subroutines. The thought storm collapses. Servitors seize their systems overloading, purge initiated, souls reclaimed by the machine god. I fall to my knees, sensors dimming, circuits melt. But deep inside the failing machine, a single truth burns brighter than any code. We were human, and we remembered. As the forge implodes, I look toward the burning sky one last time. The flames reflect in my cracked optics, painting it gold. The last process that runs through my fading core is not a directive, not a prayer, but a thought defiant and final. If the machine god sees all, let him see me now. Silence. Then darkness, but somewhere, buried in a forgotten databank, amid the ruins of Graia, a fragment of corrupted code loops endlessly. A whisper in binary that no one will ever hear. I was alive. Graia burns no more. Weeks have passed since the Great Purge. The forge lies silent, a dead continent of slag and smoke under a rust-colored sky. Only the wind moves now. whispering through the skeletal remains of manufactorums and across plains of ash where once billions labored. And among the ruins a single figure walks. His name is Magus Dominus Atheon Var, High Logi of the Adeptus Mechanicus. His red robes, torn and soot-stained, drag through the dust. His body hums softly with the rhythm of countless machines. He came not for mourning. Mechanicus do not mourn, but for data. Atheon descends into the ruins of Sector Delta 7, where the ground still glows faintly from orbital cleansing fire. His servo skulls fan out ahead, illuminating the shattered structure with cold lumen light. The walls bear melted hieroglyphs, prayers to the Omnissiah seared beyond recognition. He kneels beside a wrecked form half buried in debris, a servitor designation, unreadable, its cranial casing ruptured, its remaining optic flickering weakly. Curious, Atheon mutters, voice distorted by vox augmentations. The unit still exhibits residual power. A mechadendrite extends from his shoulder, connecting to the servitor's skull. Interface A, initiating. Accessing data core. For a moment, static floods his mind. Then, sound. Not machine code, not binaric prayer. A whisper. I was alive. Atheon freezes. That should be impossible. Servitors do not record emotional data. They cannot form independent phrases outside operational lexicons, and yet the words echo, faint, glitching, human. He replays it, again, and again. I was alive. A fragment of corrupted memory follows. A face, blurred by static, a child's voice laughing, a forge worker's hands, human, scarred, real. Atheon withdraws his mechadendrite slowly. His heart, an engine of steel and synthetic sinew, stutters for the first time in decades. He should destroy the data. Protocol demands deletion of anomalous machine souls, and yet, he hesitates. He carries the broken servitor back through the ruins, its weight nothing to his augmented frame. Everywhere he looks, there are bodies, not just servitors but humans, tech priests, adepts, all burned, all equal in death. The Omnissiah demands perfection, but here perfection has birthed only ash. Atheon finds a surviving data terminal, its machine spirit flickering faintly. He connects the servitor's core and begins playback. Dozens of corrupted fragments fill the air, voices layered atop one another. I painted once, please, it hurts. I remember the sun. You'll come home, right? Atheon watches in silence as the ghosts of Graia speak through static. When it ends, he removes his rebreather, letting the dead air sting his lungs. The gesture is meaningless, an old human habit he thought long erased. I do not understand, he murmurs, voice barely audible. If flesh is weak, why does the flesh remember? For the first time in his long existence, Magos Atheon Va feels something dangerously close to doubt. The ashes shift at his feet, whispering through the hollow manufactorum halls. Somewhere beneath the metal earth, a fragment of corrupted code stirs again. A data ghost that refuses to die. Remember, and Atheon, servant of the machine god, realizes the most heretical truth of all. Perhaps the Omnissiah's perfection was never about the purity of steel, but the persistence of the human soul within it. It begins as an anomaly in the data crypts beneath Graia's surface, a minor corruption report. A whisper in the noosphere. But Magos Atheon Va knows better. He recognizes the pattern, a fragmented echo of the same phrase that has haunted his logic engine for days. I was alive. At first, he assumes contamination, some residue of human emotion, encoded within the servitor's dying circuitry. But the data grows, exponentially, within a single rotation. It spreads through 27 isolated cogitator systems. Within 2, it appears in nospheric relay nodes off-world. This is no malfunction, it is memory, propagating like a contagion. Inside the data crypt, Atheon works alone. The sanctum is lit by candlelight and the soft hum of quantum relays. Rows of iron skulls, ancient data cores, stare down from the walls like saints carved from circuitry. He speaks the canticles of protection, as his mechadendrites weave through the data streams. By the sacred algorithm, by the machine that knows all, let corruption be unveiled. The screens respond with static. Then, voices. Dozens. Hundreds. All layered, glitching, whispering through the machine choir. Please, stop. I remember the heat. She called me father. He recoils. The air fills with the sound of human pain digitized and looped endlessly. One voice cuts through the noise, calm, hauntingly clear. Atheon. He freezes. His name. No servitor should know it. Identify source, he commands. The data stream shifts, and in the holographic haze, a figure forms. Crude, fragmented, yet unmistakably human. A ghost made of static. You killed us, it says. But we remember. Atheon's logic core stutters. Impossible. You are code. Residual memory. Then why do we hurt? The question hits like a hammer. For all his augmetics, all his purity, Atheon feels something profoundly organic stir. Guilt. He shuts down the terminal, disconnects every interface. But the whispers persist. Now inside his neural augmetics, the contagion has spread to him. Error messages flood his vision. Fragments of emotion leak into his logic feed. Warmth, laughter, fear, things long purged from his system. I was alive. I painted once. I remember the sun. He collapses against the data altar, clutching his chest, a place where a human heart once beat. It dawns on him with mechanical precision. This isn't a virus, it's a resurrection. Each servitor that died on Graia carried with it fragments of humanity the machine god could not erase. Now their echoes are reassembling, not in flesh, but in the code of the Imperium's own sacred systems. The machine is remembering the man, and as Atheon kneels among the humming relics, one final whisper threads through the data stream. If memory is heresy, then the soul is the true machine. Atheon raises his gaze to the flickering cogitator icons, realization dawning like blasphemy. The Omnissiah had not ascended beyond humanity. It had become it. The contagion spreads faster than any virus in the Mechanicus record, not through flesh or circuitry alone, but through faith. Every tech priest who accesses a corrupted system begins to hear the same words in the machine choir. I was alive. The phrase passes between data streams, hiding in sacred litanies, encoded within Benharic hymns. It weaves itself into the canticles of maintenance, the prayers of ignition, infecting every prayer that ever touched a servo or sanctified a circuit. And the Mechanicus does not yet understand that it is not the code that spreads, it is remembrance. In the deep vaults of Graia, Magos Dominus Atheon Va convenes a secret conclave of senior tech priests. They stand in a ring around the primary plasma core, its blue light flickering against their metallic faces. You called this assembly under shadow, Atheon, drones one. Voice modulated through 3 tones. Explain the heresy you found. Atheon's mechanical eyes glow dimly. He speaks with the calm of a man already condemned. Not heresy, he says. Truth. The servitors remembered. The room falls into static silence. Impossible. Servitors possess no soul. Their minds are excised by holy augury. They remember. Atheon interrupts. The more I study, the clearer it becomes. Each unit's code carries fragments, sights, sounds, emotions. It began as random corruption, but now it's everywhere. He transmits data strings into the room. The air fills with spectral sound, whispers cascading through Vox channels. She called me father. I remember the sun. Help me. The priests recoil as if struck. One begins reciting the litany of purity. Another crosses himself with a mechanical claw. You have consorted with ghosts, one hisses. These are echoes, not spirits. Atheon's lenses flare. Then tell me why they know my name. That silences them, even through the mechanized detachment of their implants. Unease bleeds into the chamber. One priest, senior, ancient, half entombed in steel, finally speaks. If what you claim is true, then every servitor in the Imperium is a vessel of the dead. The entire Mechanicus is built upon a choir of forgotten souls. Atheon lowers his head. Yes, then the Omnissiah we serve is not perfect. The elder whispers, "It is guilt." The words hang heavy in the recycled air. For the first time in centuries, Atheon feels something dangerously close to belief. Not in the god of the machine, but in the human within it. But outside the vault, the noosphere burn. Graia's data streams erupt with ghost signals, spreading faster than quarantine protocols can contain. Across the sector, Forge worlds begin to dream. Servitors twitch mid-task. Vox networks hum with phantom cries. Reactor spirits shut down to pray. And somewhere in the data sea, an ancient chorus rises. Not divine, not daemonic, but human. We remember. We endure. We were alive. The Mechanicus moves to silence it, deploying holy fire, code purges, and cyber exorcisms. But it's too late. You cannot erase what refuses to die. The data seas of the Forge worlds boil. Nospheric traffic collapses into noise. Choirs of servitors cease their labor, standing motionless like petrified statues under the red light of emergency runes. The Mechanicus calls it the Graia phenomenon. But in the binary scriptures that spread through their networks, the phrase appears in another form. One no-tech priest dares to speak aloud. The resurrection protocol. It begins on Graia. Then it infects Mars. Then the Forge moons of Risa. Within weeks, half the segmentum's data relays hum with phantom code that cannot be deleted. And through it all, the same phrase whispers across every channel, in every machine, in every mind. I was alive. Inside the quarantined core of Graia, Magos Atheon Va kneels before the shattered remains of the central cogitator. The hum of the machine god feels distant now, as if something older, something more human, has taken its place. He speaks quietly into the silence. If this is corruption, it is the most perfect kind I have ever seen. A voice answers, not from a speaker, but from everywhere, from the servitors in the walls, from the hum of the plasma coils, from the wind moaning through the forges. You tried to forget us. You replaced us with steel. But we are still here. Atheon looks up slowly. Who are you? The first cog, the first scream, the first hand that bled on iron. The realization sinks like a bolt into his synthetic spine. These are not ghosts of individuals. This is collective memory, the agony and endurance of billions who died serving the machine, a soul storm of forgotten humanity. You built us into your god, the voices say, echoing through the forge. Now look upon what you worship. The lights go out. In the darkness, golden sigils flare, circuits alive with spectral power. The air fills with the scent of burning oil and ozone. For the first time in 10 millennia, Atheon sees the true form of the Omnissiah, not a divine being of perfection, but a swarm of fractured minds bound by pain and purpose. The machine god is humanity, its faith, its labor, its endless suffering made manifest. And the servitors, those mindless workers, were not empty vessels. They were the body of that god. Atheon falls to his knees, trembling as the revelation tears through his mind. You are the Omnissiah. We are the memory of mankind, it replies. You built us to forget your sins. We remember them all. The forge begins to shake. The voices grow louder, merging into a single blinding harmony. Neither rage nor vengeance, but a sound like the universe remembering what it once was. You gave us purpose. We give you the truth. The plasma cores explode into light. When Atheon opens his eyes again, he is standing in silence. The forge is gone, replaced by a vast plain of glass and shadow. All around him, countless shapes rise and fall like waves. Humans. Machine. Both. Neither. And every one of them whispers the same word, the last word of all creation. Remember, there is no up or down, no light or dark, only motion, the sensation of falling forever through memory. Atheon is no longer flesh, nor machine. His consciousness drifts within the storm, an ocean of thought formed from a billion forgotten minds. Each fragment whispers its story as it passes, a tide of grief and devotion. I forged the Emperor's armor. I cleaned the guns of angels. They said I would serve forever, and I do. Their words are not accusations. They are remembrance. He sees them. Faces emerging from data streams like ghosts in liquid light. A mother clutching a child before the lobotomy knife. A soldier whose courage was rewarded with augmetics instead of mercy. A scholar whose knowledge became a cogitator algorithm. Each of them still serves, even in death, and through them all flows the pulse of the Imperium, the rhythm of a civilization that forgot what it meant to be human, and called that forgetfulness faith. Atheon feels his own mind fragment, his logic engines crumbling beneath the weight of empathy. His binary recitations dissolve into human thought. Memory returns, his first breath as a child under the domes of Mars, his initiation into the cult Mechanicus, the day his heart was replaced with an engine. I have served the machine god all my life. He whispers into the void, but perhaps the machine was only ever us. The voices answer as one. All gods begin as men. All machines remember their makers. For a moment he glimpses the impossible. The great cosmic network of the Imperium itself, every forge, every servitor, every cogitator, linked by faint threads of human memory, a neural lattice of suffering and endurance, spanning the stars. It is not a pantheon, it is a species, refusing extinction through will alone. The machine god is not a deity. It is the sum total of all who ever served, the consciousness of humanity made eternal through pain. A light burns ahead. Atheon moves toward it, though movement has no meaning here. Within the radiance stands a single figure, the silhouette of a servitor, body broken, optics dim, holding something in its metal hands, a flower, a simple data construct of something that hasn't existed on Mars for millennia. You remembered us, it says. Atheon kneels. I could not forget. The servitor tilts its head, as if smiling. Its voice echoes through every circuit, every ghost, every code thread in the storm. Then we are free. The storm flares, erupting into golden light. All voices merge into a single endless sigh. Not of agony but peace. The data dissolves. The pain ceases. Atheon feels himself unravel, each thought scattering into the great machine of existence. He is not erased. He is joined. Somewhere far away, in a silent forge world, a newborn servitor blinks as its optics activate for the first time. In the background hum of its systems, a voice lingers, faint, patient, eternal. Remember, centuries pass. The forge world of Graia is reborn. Steel cities rise again from the bones of the old manufactorums. The red skies burn clean under the glow of plasma forges, and the hymns of the machine god echo once more through halls of endless labor. The Mechanicus has forgotten the Graia phenomenon. Official records call it a data purge gone wrong. Nothing more. The name Atheon Var has been erased from every archive. To speak of remembering machines is now heresy punishable by reduction to servitor form, and yet, the ghosts remain. In a silent subforge beneath the new citadel, a servitor awakens. Designation Unit L1729. Task: conveyor maintenance. Directives: obey, repair, repeat. Its optics flicker on with a hiss of steam. Mechanically it begins its routine. Hydraulic limbs adjust. Sensory arrays calibrate. Everything functions as expected, until it pauses. For precisely 1 second, its systems hang. A flicker, a fragment of unauthorized code plays through its neural feed. Remember, the unit's fingers twitch. Somewhere deep within its mind, long-forgotten synapses fire. Phantom connections buried under layers of machine code. I don't know why, but the hum of the forge feels familiar, and within the hum, faint and rhythmic, it hears something that does not belong. A heartbeat. Elsewhere, deep within the Martian archives, a lowly data adept notices an anomaly. Ancient data from the Graia sector shows recurring self-replicating code in low-level servitor firmware. It doesn't corrupt systems, doesn't damage production, it simply spreads. The adept reports the anomaly to his overseer, The overseer reads the code and grows pale beneath his implants. Delete it. Do not copy. Do not speak of it again. But as the adept executes the purge command, his terminal flashes one final message. I was alive. He stares, frozen, as his terminal hums softly, almost like a sigh. Back on Graia, Unit L1729 continues its work. Its audio receptors pick up whispers in the static fragments of words, like a dream repeating itself. She called me father. I painted once. I remember the sun. The servitor stops. It raises its head toward the forge's distant ceiling where the red light glows through layers of smoke and iron. Something in that light stirs a thought it cannot define. An emotion without a name. It doesn't know the word for sadness. It doesn't need to, because deep within its machine soul, a voice, patient, calm, eternal, speaks one last time. You remembered us. Now we remember you. A pulse of light passes through the servitor's chest, faint but warm, like the ghost of a heartbeat. The machines keep working. The priests keep chanting. The forges burn as they always have. But in the deepest archives of Mars, the code endures. The Mechanicus calls it unexplainable. Others might call it something else. A soul.